Hi, guys. This is Coach Green Jean, and I'd like to welcome you out to another online live discussion, paper versus paper. And again, I am Coach Green Jean. I'm the director, or I'm sorry, I am the not the director, but the managing director of Harmonic Connections Plus, the lead instructor and the developer of the 3H Intro into Pre-Apprenticeship workshop for young people the ages of 12 and 17 in basic construction, craft work, safety, and technology. And so we have sessions that are dedicated to introducing young people to basic self sustaining skill sets, as well as introducing them to indigenous values related to promoting responsibility to respect, honor, and protect themselves, family, environment, and culture. And so, with the success of this workshop, we've had parents ask us questions as it relates to their young people being able to navigate the career path of a craft, tech, or design professional. Hence was the birth of this particular online discussion, paper versus paper, where we have the immense opportunity to sit down with today's professional and just discuss strategies and insights related to building pathways for future generations, that sustainable pathways. And so I am so honored. I am so excited to introduce today's guest professional. This is a friend and a longtime professional in the construction industry, business owner. And I just want to go ahead and let him introduce himself. Mr. Kevin Franklin, thank you for being with us on today's Paper versus Paper. How are you doing this evening, sir?
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful, sir. Doing great. It's truly a great honor to be here to be part of your program. So I'm
Thank you,
definitely
man.
very excited to be here.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited too because we have a lot to unfold. And so before we really kind of jump into the nitty gritty and find out about your professional background as far as how you came into the industry, did you want to, could we have you just share a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I've been in the construction industry since I was a kid, and my parents, and they were always building, and my parents were always building something, houses or a church or something. We were always upgrading something. So I come from a family of 12. There's 12 of us.
Nice.
So we got seven brothers and four sisters, and most of us are entrepreneurs. We have our own business, and I happen to be one of the ones that took up construction
Wow.
part of the process. And I also enjoy music. I play piano, I play organ, and I like creating music on the side.
Yeah, well, let me tell my audience, he's not just a player on the side. This gentleman is an immense leader within the music industry as well. I wish we had his actual instrument set up so we could hear a little bit, but that'll probably be on the next broadcast.
There you go. There you go. That sounds great.
Hey, Kevin. So, man, I guess let's go ahead and start right there, man, because there are kids out there, man, that are interested in the construction arena, and just due to the culture, that we have today, sometimes construction gets a negative connotation or a negative stigma placed upon it, just due to a lot of the past stigma that has followed our particular culture. And so I just wanted to ask you, man, and you hit on it just a little bit earlier, that it was construction was a part of your family upbringing and background. Would you like to just share with us, how that background in the building industry, and then touching you and your family members, how entrepreneurship just began to be a part of your legacy? Explain to us how that all happened for you, if you don't mind.
Well, actually, the younger years of my life was in Chicago, and believe it or not, was in Cabrini Greens. There's a
Oh, wow.
housing project in Chicago on the north side called Cabrini Greens.
Yes.
Then opportunity opened up in the South Suburban area with my parents, where they wanted to get us out of there, and so my family on my mom's side, they own a lot of land out in Fort Heights, so they were actually farmers. They're farmers, so they raised the chickens, the cow. We had
Yes.
a garden
Yes.
out there and everything else. So they had some land for us and a house for us. And when we moved out from Chicago out this way, then they decided to take the house and change it to a church, to a little small mission, and the mission became a church. So my mom became pastor. My parents are founders of a church. That's where I got my start from. So
Wow.
So then, as the church was kept growing from kids to adults and everybody else coming in, more members coming in, then we had a builder that joined. We had a union carpenter became a member of the church, and then as we were teenagers and youngsters among the church, and then we were out there helping out, just volunteer our time. That's where I picked up the start.
You know what? That's very very key and critical. I guess it was a couple of things that you had said in there. First was the whole idea of land. You know, land is not as prominent today as it has been in the past. Right now, we talk about real estate and property ownership, but we don't own the land. But one day, I desired that we get back to understanding the key principles of being landowners, as well as understanding the value of agriculture. You know, and so and producing your own food. You know, we need to really consider and get back, to those ideas. And so I'm glad you shared on that. And that is a part of your legacy, something that you're continually keeping in front of you. Now, as far as the mentor aspect, you shared about this gentleman who came a part of the church and was a union carpenter.
Yes, we had a guy. He came to the church. His name was Irvin. Irvin. So he was he was an older guy, but he was younger at that time.
Yeah.
And so we were younger at that time in our early teens. And so when you don't have a whole lot of money, like especially when churches come along, they wanted to build a church. So my parents they built the first church debt free. And how they did it was we in the community of, it was called East Chicago Heights at that time.
Okay.
So there were some abandoned buildings that's been sitting around for a long time. So what the carpenter did was he took a lot of us, we went to the building, and we just started tearing the building apart, but saving materials. To save the rafters, we saved the blocks, we saved a lot of bricks. So there were several apartment buildings. And so that's how we got our first start. And so that's how they built the first building debt free. The first building was only like 24 feet wide with the truss, because of the building, the apartment building was only 24 feet wide. Yes. Being out there on the job site with him, he showed us safety, to wear the right gear, the right clothing, the right gear and everything. And so he was there, and we just say, we were just kind of handing things down as they were taking things apart. And so, that's how I got my first start.
Wow. And that's amazing because, here it is, we go to these major universities and institutions, and even back then during your time in adolescence and as a young person, you were learning sustainability at its best. Safety,
right. It's true.
At its best, craft work. And most importantly, with the skills, you were learning how to work well with others, that heart component.
Yes.
That's one thing that we deal with and talk about regarding 3H. That's where the 3H comes in: the head, the hands, and the heart. And your whole legacy is wrapped up into that. What kind of encouragement do you have, Mr. Franklin, for a young person that may not have the opportunities and the blessings that you had, with a carpenter mentor that would be that close? What kind of encouragement would you have for kids to be able to participate and get that hands-on experience?
Yeah, I would say the first area would be to volunteer. Volunteer is real key. Volunteer. So don't look for the money, but just to volunteer. what volunteering does is, depending on what it is, it prepares you to actually work. Got to
Yeah.
get into the got to get into the atmosphere of just working, just to go work, just laboring and just working. Like I said, when we was coming up, we had a garden, and that garden fed our family. My aunt's family, she had a family of 15. My other aunt, she had a family of 12. We had a family of 12. So you got all these people on the same block, and this huge garden that fed, everything was there. But we was out there working the garden, was out there planting. My uncle, he showed us how to do it, how to plant, how to garden. And even to this day, I do a garden. I do tomatoes, I do cucumbers, I do all kind of stuff in my garden. But it's a lot of work. So I would say to start with volunteering work. As I was younger, in East Chicago Heights at that time, they had a summer program for the kids. I was out there just cutting weeds down. So just being out there in the field cutting weeds, that's actually getting, you're learning how to go work. But a lot of times, some of the kids may not want to do those things, but that's where you actually start at. So I would say volunteering in that area is great. You can volunteer if they're members of a church. A lot of times they have different things going on in the church where you can volunteer. You can help out different depending on what kind of program they have or what kind of summer program they have, just to volunteer your time.
Wow. That was very, very happy and very, very amazing information, because a couple of our last guest professionals have shared the same thing
Mm.
as the importance of in volunteering.
Mm-hmm.
They were sharing with us that through volunteering, it provided them business that they hadn't even planned for in the future, just
Mm.
because they chose to gain a little bit more skill set
Okay.
and help out the community.
Mm. Wow.
And so it became that volunteering their time and their efforts multiplied their experience.
That's true.
And then this whole essence about working.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
you know, we're talking to the parents and we're talking to the young people that you were put on this earth to solve problems and to answer specific needs for
That's
our
true.
society today.
That's true.
And what I'm understanding is that for you to get close to the gift that you are supposed to be,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to come through work.
Yes.
And go
we
ahead,
were
Kevin.
we were designed to work. So we live in a culture today where everything is fast speed, everything is internet, everything is sit on the couch and hit some buttons, and I can turn on my lights, I can turn on my thermostat. We can program our thermostat, our heat. It makes us lazy, but in order to gain success in life, it takes work. Amazon wouldn't be where they are today if it wasn't for Jeff Bezos working hard.
Talk about it.
You got to work hard. You got to work hard. It's not going to just come easy, but you have to work. Anything in life, you have to go work for it if you want to be successful.
And that's a principle that's laid out in the Bible. And a man that doesn't work,
that's right, does not eat.
does not eat. Wow. I mean, we could stay on that for the next half hour. But let's go ahead and transition a little bit and just dabble a little bit into your educational platform.
Mm-hmm.
Because even with the mentorship and the volunteer, one thing that the Coach Green Gene community, we always like to express, the importance of the knowledge, which say the head, the hands, and the heart. And so if you wouldn't mind, share with us, the different knowledge pathways that you had to cross to become the extreme professional that you are today. Yeah. I know a lot of that key stuff was the foundation at home, but then you continued on, please.
Yeah, I think for me, it kind of started too when I was a kid, back in grade school, or back at home. Mm-hmm. I was always tinkering with toys and taking things apart just to see how it works. What made it function? Why is this car? Why is the wheels on the car spinning? Or what makes the radio do what it's doing? So I was always taking things apart: a television, a radio. So when things got broken around the house, yeah, most likely it was me. It was me taking all the screws out just to figure out what's going on with it. And so I would say with me it was just tinkering around with those things. And then as I got a little bit older, then I knew that I wanted to get into some type of electronic trade. So when I first started off in high school, I got into the vocational trade. They had a vocational program where you have all these shops. You got the wood shop, the metal shop, and they had different shops in high school.
Right.
And so I kind of gravitated to the electronics. So that was the one I kind of gravitated to. All the wood shop, I was pretty decent at it, and wood shop too. But some of the other shops I wasn't that good at. And another area too I liked actually too was drafting. So I got into drafting in high school, and I had an uncle that actually gave me a set of drafting tools.
Wow.
And through drafting tools, when my parents, like I say, they were pastors when they were building their first church. They didn't have an architect at the time, and I was fascinated with buildings and plans, and was in school for it in high school at the time, and I actually designed the first church. High school.
Amazing.
I designed the first building in high school. The second building was a larger building, was a commercial building. I designed the second building. In fact, if you even go on the Google map, you can see it. It says the building that was there. So, but I designed the second building. So the second building I did was kind of went through the architect. They took my drawing. They say, "Oh, you designed all this?" I said, "Yeah." They say, "How you figure out the beams? How you figure out the structural?" So I figure out the beams, the span. I figure out the concrete, the PSI. I figure out the mechanical, the electrical, and the plumbing. And so they were fascinated. I said, how did this high school kid figure all this out? So that's where I kind of get drafting in high school. And then I would take it to my drafting teacher. He looked over some things. He said, "Oh yeah, looks great." So with his knowledge and what I was doing, it actually worked.
So kids with this same inquisitiveness as it relates to construction, what can they do today in order to assist them to get into the construction industry?
If there's a shop class at their school, that would be great. Mm-hmm. That'd be a great start. If they don't have a shop class in their school, I would say to just take up business, take up any other course that they may have there, like math, English. Take up all of those classes so you can just sharpen up your skill. One of the worst subject for me back in high school was actually math. And when I was in driver's ed class, she asked me, my driver's ed teacher, "Hey Kevin, hey, what do you want to do when you get out here, when you get out of here?" So I told her, I said, "Hey, I want to go into electronics, electronics. That's what I want to do." She said, "Well, it's going to require a lot of math. What kind of math are you taking?" I said, "Well, I don't really like math. I was trying to avoid it. So in high school, I avoided it. So when I got out of high school, I got into college, a local college, and I just started flunking out of all of the classes because I couldn't deal with the math. You had to, because in this high tech field, you had to learn how to do algebra and everything else. But I avoided it. So what I did was, one of the greatest decisions that I did, I kind of did it on my own, is that I paid for it out of my pocket. And I went back to the school. I said, "Hey, math is my worst subject, so I need to really get it down real good." He said, "Okay, Mr. Franklin, what you want to do?" I said, "Put me in the slowest class." He said, "The slowest class." They said, "What's the slowest class?" I said, "I want to start with 1 + 1 is 2. He said, "Well, you don't have to go back that far." I said, "No, I want to start back 1 + 1 is 2. Yes. Okay, so I was in the fundamental math course in college. That was the only class that I had at that particular time. And I worked myself all the way through pre-algebra. Then I had algebra. So then I saw what had this mental block was at. So then some great teachers had algebra 1, algebra 2. Then I got into the trig, into the calculus and everything else. I said, "Oh, wow, I avoided this." But now today, math is one of my greatest subjects. I love finance. I love dealing with math. I love dealing with numbers. I love dealing with, the whole thing. So now it's one of my greatest. And from that, I was able to take that to get into the trade school. From those scores that I did, because I had all A's in math. I didn't do good in English. I mean, English I did pretty good in, but some of the other subjects I didn't do that well in. But math was my worst, but became my greatest. I took those transcripts and got into the trade school, and then I became a journeyman electrician through the trades.
What an amazing story for our young people and parents to hear. I've heard it time and time again from great professionals. If you're not good at something, that's what you should embrace.
That's
because
right.
when you go to embrace it, you figure out more and more of your own personal giftings. Don't run away from it.
Right.
Ask for the grace, ask for the patience to run to it.
And start at the bottom. Start at the bottom is key. Start at the bottom. Don't start up here. I mean, I couldn't cope when it was here because I didn't quite understand all these formulas and everything else. But when I started, that's why I wanted to start from the bottom. I wanted to see exactly what point did I actually start going wrong through school. When I saw it, I said, "Oh man!" I said, "Oh yeah, I got it now. I got it."
But listen to what was key in that particular story. Okay. You did not have any pride in the college arena to humble yourself to start at the basics.
Yeah.
And I think that's what hurts us. And I got to point to myself that I usually point out is a curse of comparison. Mm-hmm. We look at other people and see that we have not arrived, and then we put ourselves on a pedestal or under a pedestal, and it stouts our growth. And we're busy looking around at other people when we should look on the inside, because what matters the most is the impact that God has put us on the earth to make. That's and true. We can't do that by looking at others. And you went on the look, you said, you know what? If I want to get this, I'm going to have to take responsibility for myself.
Right.
And start at the beginning. That's amazing.
I'm blessed today that I'm so good with numbers that when we purchased our car, the finance guy in the finance department thought they thought that I had a degree in finance. They said, wait a minute, we do this. Our computer is doing this. How are you doing this? The general manager had to come out the back and say, how's this guy doing all this? I'm going down, I'm figuring out off the interest rates. I can figure out the APR, the interest, how we come up with this for loans and do the whole deal all the way through. I can calculate everything through. And I actually love doing it.
Man, that is amazing. Mr. Franklin, thank you for sharing that so much. And I would assume that's probably how, and I don't want to venture in this topic. We can save this for the next time, but I assume that's why you're such a great musician as well. You probably sat down at that keyboard and
analyze it.
Hey, family, audience, you got to hear this brother. He's amazing.
Well, whatever that a person is weak in, if it's English, if it's math or science or whatever that it is, that it might not be your greatest subject. So it's just a matter of just practicing. You just have to practice. Yes, and music, to get good on piano or organ or guitar, you just have to go sit down and analyze it and just practice.
So tell us, Mr. Franklin, how has that foundation blessed you today? What kind of projects, what kind of things? Because I know we've talked and you've shared with me that you've been to different parts of the nation in music and in your construction business. Can you share a little bit with us how this foundation, where you have not allowed the labor or working with your hands to be a negative approach in your life, you allowed it to be a positive approach. Can you share with us how this has been a blessing to you and your family?
Yeah, just by volunteering, like I said, at the church, working with the carpenters and working with drawings, and at a younger age, I was probably the only apprentice. In my second year apprentice, I was actually running work. I was like a foreman, like in my third year at Cook County. Wow. And on some school projects in the city of Chicago. We had an incident one time where the foreman, he actually quit, and a lot of journeymen was there. I was like a third year apprentice. This big school project was going on, and so he said, "Hey, he quit. We need to keep the job going on." He asked all the other journeymen, did they know what's going on? He said, "Well, yeah, we know pretty much, because most time the foreman kind of lay out the job, what's going on." But I had kind of been with the foreman, and I've been kind of watching him and studying the project and the job. So when no one else knew, I stepped up. I said, I know what's going on. And then when the owner of the company came down, he said, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm Kevin Franklin." He said, "You know what's going on here?" He said, "What are you?" I said, I'm a third year." He said, "Are you a third year apprentice?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Show me what's going on." I opened up them drawings, them blueprints. I said, "We need to run this box over here. We need to put this switch gear in. We need to run these cables over here. We run this over there." He threw his hand up and said, "Oh," he said, "We got to get this project done." He said, he know what's going on. He asked all the other journeymen, "Does anybody have a problem with Kevin doing it?" He said, "No." He said, Kevin's good. He's good at it." He said, "Well, as far as I'm concerned, then we're going to have Kevin running this job until we find a foreman." He said, "I can't give you foreman's pay because you're still under the apprenticeship program, but you can help us out finishing this project." And so I was able to help them finish the whole project. It was from the ground up, Chicago.
Wow.
Bricklayer with the bricklayers and everybody, we running everything, we put in the main power from the main lines, and yeah. So I was able to finish the whole job. So when I finished the project later on, and then became a journeyman. They gave me before I became a journeyman in my 4th year, they gave me a company van.
Wow.
So that's one of the benefits of just volunteering and just making yourself, just being open
And available.
Yes.
Wow.
That's one of the benefits that a person they can receive just by volunteering their time.
Thank you for taking your time and breaking this down for us so that we can really spend time to absorb this, because this is on video recording. We get to go back, we get to watch this, we get to listen to your process, because you are such a leader and in demand in the industry today and what you do. And when people look at you and they see all the success and the fame, you just equipped and shared with us some tools and strategies that assisted you to get to where you got. You didn't just go to a 5-year university and put money down over here and step up in the line. But from what I hear, there was a lot of hard work involved. There was a lot of, I guess if I can say it, humble pies that were eaten. You decreased yourself and said, "You know what? I need to start at the basic no matter who's looking at me."
That's true. That's true.
I gotta get this lesson. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, and one of the good things about school, like if a person, everybody that's watching, is that even in high school where you have the sports team, you got your volleyball team, your sports team, your basketball team, or music or choir or whatever. It's good to get involved, because what happens is that you're being around other people and you're sharing together and you're working out conflict and you're working out things. You're working out, okay, here's our goal, here's the finish line. You have to get around other people to work things out together, and that's what's key. That you may not see it right now. That's key in helping you cope with everything in life. Where you're working with workers on the job, other people, with other races. So all this helps you out. So it's not
That's right.
It's not just about the game. It's about what you're going to be doing when you get out of high school.
That is amazing. Taking those skills, all these different skill sets, multiple skill sets, not taking every opportunity and using those lessons to help excel you.
Yes.
Because that's one thing that we talk about in the 3H pre-apprenticeship, is about leaving a legacy and leaving a sustainable pathway for the next generation.
Yes.
And we do that by making sure we maximize our education, maximizing our skill sets, and maximizing our relationships, our relationship with God, relationship with ourselves, and our relationship with others.
That's true.
So important. And you become a professional and an elder at that particular standpoint, and a leader amongst leaders. And I appreciate that, man.
And everybody has to answer to someone. I mean, even though I have my own business, but then the customer that I deal with, they're the boss. I'm following what they need, or if I'm working for architects or engineers, I mean, they're the boss. I have to follow their guideline. So in school, when the teachers set out the curriculum, it's important to follow everything, how she's laying it out, how she got everything going, because that's really helping you out. So you have to follow. It's really just following instructions. Following instruction is very, very, very key.
Yeah, no shortcuts, right, Mr. Franklin?
Right.
No shortcuts. Go ahead and take that lesson.
That's right.
And do not rob yourself of the process.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, so, go ahead. No, I'm sorry.
One story I can share when I was going through the school and through the trade school.
Yes.
One particular time, some guys they wanted to cheat, so they were trying to cheat on the test and doing everything else. And so they was asking me. They said, "Hey Kevin, hey hey man, you want to cheat?" I said, "I don't want to cheat." He said, "It's the only way you're gonna be able to pass the class." I said, even if I got to pass with ASC, I'm not gonna cheat. I said, I need to know what I'm doing, especially in the trade that I'm in. So they few guys kind of cheated their way through, and so then when they got on the job site, they didn't know what was going on. So that's key. Don't cheat. You got to just sit down there and just learn it, and just get it. Because when you get on a job site, you're gonna have to go produce. In order to produce, you're gonna have to go know it.
Yes, that right there is an indigenous value. That's a principle. Following through that process and getting everything that you need as an individual. This is how we protect and promote and preserve the things that are important to us. And that's by being responsible to ourselves and our family. It's by, and just like you said, just do the right thing.
Do the right thing. That's it.
Do the right thing. That's simple. Yes, Kevin, I want to thank you, man. But before we sign off, there's a couple other things I want to get from you. And I'm going to start it off like this, generally, before I let our guest professional leave the actual discussion. I wanted to know if you could share with the young people if there was a particular maybe book or movie or an experience or something that you wanted to share with them that they can take away with them to be able to use as an addition to what we already shared. If it was something else you'd like to share with them that they could take along with them on their journey.
Well, I guess everybody is a little bit different. A lot of people read a lot of novels, a lot of books, romance or whatever. A lot of people they read a lot of books. I just like to read a lot of self-help books like business and mostly business, because since I'm into business, so I read a lot of books on that, or something regarding my field, something I need to know in a different field. Mm-hmm. Like I just picked up a book on masonry construction. Yeah. I want to learn more about the rebars. Even though we do it, I got our team to do it. I don't have to do it myself. But sometimes when you have certain questions, I like to just kind of be out there where, hey, here's another way of doing it. Sometimes, when you're on project. So I read a lot of self-help books. I just love doing that. I love reading. One of my main books I love reading is the Bible.
Yes.
And reason for it is that I read a lot of stories in the Bible of a lot of people that have overcome a lot of great they overcame a lot of battles in their life, and so just by them just relying on God, he equipped them, and he was with them, and he was enabled them to win. So I think just those stories of David and how he conquered Goliath. See, David conquered Goliath in his mind first before he went out there. So well before he went out there, he already conquered Goliath. So I love reading these stories. I can conquer things. I'm conquering things right here first.
Yes.
Before I go out there.
Wow.
So a lot of those stories is in the Bible. I'm constantly in my Bible reading those things, and I don't watch a lot of television. Every now and then, there's a few movies on I like, but the movies I do kind of like is probably more action. I like movies that's conquering, like Gladiators.
Okay,
I love those movies. I love the music too, but I love just conquering things. So I love those movies where you just conquering things.
Yeah,
it reminds me of me, just because every day it's like there's a battle. You have to get up. You have to fight for different things. Fight for things. You have to go out on working with different people and certain things. So just the attitude or just conquering. I keep that fresh in my mind.
That's right, because my brother, you are more than a conqueror, and you are very much unstoppable.
Thank you, sir. You are too.
Thank you. I appreciate it, sir. I appreciate it. And before we sign off, Mr. Franklin, can you provide us with any type of information that our audience might be able to use to get in contact with you to use your services if they are in the Chicago area, they're looking for a contractor for any type of new development? Because I know you do commercial as well as residential and developments from different parts of the nation. How do they get in contact with you, Kevin?
Yeah, we have a couple of ways of getting in contact with it. I do have a website, is rebuildingtheland.com, and you can see on that site the different projects that we do, whether it's commercial or residential projects. And so my number is 708-64, office number at 708-647-9700. And what I'm getting ready to do is launch another company. Rebuilding the Land is a development company. I first started off as a division is a development company.
Yeah.
And so even though I've been doing other projects, electrical work and everything else, so we really just kind of getting into that where we developing land. We're developing land. We're breaking ground and everything else. But there's another company I'm getting ready to start up pretty soon. I don't want to reveal the name of it yet.
Yes.
And every young person that's watching. And then this new company that we're building up will be more maintenance, smaller jobs, in and out, quick jobs, but you still make some nice, great money. You still have to have the skill, electrical, the electricians, the plumbers, carpenters, everything else. So we see a nice open market in this area where I like to really, really capitalize on.
Well, if there's anything that I know about you, my brother, that is going to be a successful and prosperous venture. And as you know, I'm always plugging at you because I'm going to try to stick my head in to find out how I can be a blessing to what you're doing, because I know you are always there for me, my brother. And I want to appreciate you for lending us your time, man, during this discussion, because you provided us with a lot of helpful strategies and insights. We have Dr. Dula. She's been joining us here. My wife, the amazing Dr. Dula, she's been posting some quotes here, right here on the chat board, talking about conquering it in your mind first.
Okay.
So I appreciate her because she's very much an overcomer in her own right as well. And so we're going to eventually have her one day on this particular online discussion so that she can actually share with us her work and what she's doing. But before we get out of here, I also just want to take this opportunity to invite those individuals that are also interested in furthering their understanding in the construction arena. We, like I said, with 3H Intro to Pre-Apprenticeship, we host a introduction to pre-apprenticeship at Prairie State College in Chicago Heights. And you can find out more information on CoachGreenGene.com. And this is where we look for young people at the ages of 12 to 17 and introduce them to basic craft work and safety and technical design skills. And so we would love to have you out, because it's our ultimate motive for you as a young person to navigate your career path as a young emerging professional by understanding the importance of working with your head, your hands, and your heart. So take time, re-listen to this particular discussion and the other discussions that we have on this particular YouTube channel. That's CoachGreenGene.com. Please tell your family and friends to please subscribe and to take advantage of this free content where we're looking to engage and assist you in your development so that you're leaving a legacy not for yourself but for the next generation. Mr. Franklin.
Good. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, sir.
We're gonna have to do this
again. And everybody out there.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. Have a great evening, and we'll be talking with you guys real soon. And remember always that we build legacy.
I like that.
That's right. Have a great night now.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.